Dancing with the Stars season 31 premiered on Disney Plus this week, and we're diving into the best moments of the night. Hey guys, and welcome back to another shared news. We have to dive into the premiere night of Dancing with the Stars. But before we get into it, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any future videos. I'm Allison Van Dam, joined today by the lovely Kayla Thompson. I know we are both big Dancing with the Stars fans, and I will say that this might be the most contestants I've known before the season starts, so I was automatically excited. Feels like we have a lot of people from pop culture, TV, music, all areas that I know and love, but I was immediately excited to see Gabby Windey, who we just saw on The Bachelorettes, Selma Blair, and Heidi and Charli D'Amelio. I thought that was a very interesting twist to have not only Charli, but her mom, Heidi. So Kayla, who were you initially excited to see, and who are you rooting for this season?
Yeah, I agree with you. This cast is incredible. You know, usually there's like one or two people that I'm really excited about because I know, but this year it's like five or six of them that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to see how much they progress. So of course, Gabby, that's my girl. Can't wait to see how she, continues to grow and get better and better. She's already amazing, but yeah, so Gabby definitely was amped to see Jordin Sparks. She was like my queen growing up watching American Idol, just as a young singer and an artist. So Jordin Sparks, Wayne Brady, I mean, he's just all around an incredible performer. So I think he's going to do well. And even Trevor Donovan from 90210, like I was not expecting him to be, he was really nervous, but he kind of like, held his own on the dance floor. So I'm excited to see him grow. So yeah, definitely excited about this cast.
Awesome. So let's just dive right in. We have some clips ready for not only us, but the audience. And the first dance we're going to take a look at is between Selma and Sasha.
I couldn't see it until I let go. Gave in love. Watched all the bitterness burn. Now I'm coming alive. Body and soul.
I mean, I will say this was one of my favorite dances of the night, and I was just so blown away by Selma. Obviously, we watched, earlier in this scene, she comes out with her cane. She does, typically use a cane. She also has a service dog that travels with her. And she looked so fluid, so elegant, like her mobility. I was just like fully shocked. I was fully immersed in the dance, and it made me completely forget about any sort of like inability or, physical challenges she
Mhm.
might have. What do you think about it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the biggest thing on Dancing with the Stars is probably just, doing well enough, against your partner, not against your partner, but, you're dancing with this professional dancer. And so just to come out and be so smooth and not be stiff, like, is let alone, for somebody like Selma who has a disability, that's even harder. So I was super impressed by her. I'm super impressed by just her bravery of coming on the show, knowing that it would be an extra challenge for her. And so, yeah, and I liked that they brought out, her cane. She kind of walked out with it, and then she kind of left it there and did the dance, and it kind of just showed that, I don't know, it kind of just reflected on the fact that she was doing this show and she was putting herself out there. And I think she just did such a great job. Her lines were great. Again, she was so smooth and fluid. And yeah, this was a great first dance for her.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, after watching something like this that, is so lyrical and emotive, it'll be so interesting to see them do something faster, like a jive, like a samba,
Mhm.
like something like that. And I'm sure she
Yeah.
will be just as excellent as she was in night one, but they ended up with a score of 28. There was a three-way kind of tie. Three couples received a score of 28, but a very good start to her season, to their season as a duo. Let's move on to Gabby and Val.
Leave it at that. Oh, in this world, it's just us. You know it's not the same as it was.
This is just fun. Like, I could watch this forever. It's clear that they're both having so much fun. I love that Gabby has that big smile on her face. I think sometimes that's something that the stars have to work on at the beginning is their overall stage presence. And even if they're faking it, just
Mm.
looking excited, looking happy, a lot of times we see a lot of concentrated looks or scared looks. She's killing it. Val is one of my favorite pros, if I'm being honest. So
Oh,
when I saw
yeah.
that they were paired up together, I was like, this is a dynamic duo. They're dancing to
Yeah.
Harry Styles. They're having so much fun. Their costumes is bright pink, and it works so well with the dance with her fringe. Like 10 out of 10. If I had a paddle, I'm done.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's true. I agree. Just with you saying 10 out of 10, I kind of expected her to get an 8, you know. I know we'll talk about the score, but this was just so sharp, so clean for your first dance to be a jive. That's so difficult, and they kind of talked about it in their intro package. But yeah, Gabby is clearly a natural performer. You know, we she has her cheerleading background, professional cheerleading background, so I know that definitely helped. But also you can see that her and Val have a nice friendship because there's like, you know, eye contact and trust, and they're just having fun. And so you can tell they're already getting along. I totally agree. Val is one of my favorite, if not my favorite pro dancer on this show. So this was just like a dream match for me, partnership. And yeah, for this to be Gabby's first dance, I was so incredibly proud of her. And I can't wait to see if this is her first dance, she's going to be incredible moving forward. So, yeah, loved this performance.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, you have to think through, she's coming straight off of her own season. Not only that, but
Mhm.
with their scheduling and the way that this her season was extended, she's filming after the final rose. I mean, we even watched this week alone, she had Dancing with the Stars Monday night, then after the final rose on Tuesday. Like she's being pulled in so many different directions. And not that I think she needs more rehearsal time because look at her, she's fabulous, but I'm
Yeah.
so excited to see her throughout the season when she can really just focus on Dancing with the Stars and not feel like, she's juggling all these things at once. But completely loved
So
it. They
true.
ended up again with a score of 28, similar to Selma and Sasha. They are one of these three couples that all received a score of 28. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Let's move on to Vinny and Koko.
Saluden a Titi, vamos a tirar un selfie. Say cheese. Digan la que ya les metí en un VIP, un VIP. Ey, saluden a Titi, vamos a tirar un selfie. Say cheese. Que sonrían la que ya se olvidaron de mí. Me gusta mucho la Gabriela, la Patricia.
All right, so high energy. We see Jersey Shore Boardwalk projected in the background here. I will say it didn't feel as connected as these other numbers that we'd seen thus far. It felt like maybe they were kind of both trying to do the choreography, but they just weren't fully in sync. And I know I
Mhm.
wasn't the only one who felt that way because they actually ended up with the lowest score of the night, a score of 19. Kayla, what did you think when you were watching this, even before you heard the judges' score?
I mean, I was like, oh no, secondhand embarrassment. Like, I was getting up, walking around the room, couldn't barely keep watching because I just was like, it was not going well, Allison. It was really just, yeah, there wasn't a connection between the two of them. I mean, Vinny was behind the music for a lot of it. And I was also disappointed. Vinny was like my favorite on Jersey Shore. So I thought he was kind of gonna do better than this. Honestly, I felt bad. And so yeah, it was unfortunate. And Bad Bunny, just such a great artist. This was a great choice for a song for him. So I was kind of like, I feel like he was set up to do well, and it just wasn't happening. It was stiff. It was disjointed. I mean, happy he made it past elimination. He clearly has fans voting for him, but definitely need to see an incredible improvement this coming Monday because this was
Yeah. Felt like there was a lot of potential. He's such like kind of this fun presence, was on Jersey Shore. And I even more so to his potential, he has experience as a Chippendale dancer in Vegas. So like he's got the
right.
stage presence, he's got the confidence. And I just am like, sometimes I think people are given a dance style, or maybe they just like they can have a presence and rhythm, but it's just not translated well into the
Mhm.
ballroom. I don't know. Maybe we'll end up giving him one of those awards that we saw in school that was like most improved over time. Maybe he'll go from the
Yeah.
bottom all the way up to the top. We've seen
Yeah.
it all on Dancing with the Stars, so we'll continue holding out hope at least for one more week. But moving right along, we are going to see a clip of Jordin and Brandon. I mean, this is the complete opposite of what we just saw with Vinny and what we talked about. Like, this is not only potential, but this is excelling. We have strength, we have stage presence. And I feel like sometimes, especially at the beginning of the season when everyone's really new to it, it feels like it's just the pros leading, their stars around the stage or kind of puppeteering them. And what I watched in this clip is not only did Brandon kind of spin her and spin her back, but then when Brandon spun back around her, she is fully engaged. She's using her muscles. They are a full pair even in week 1. Like, she's whipping him, he's whipping her. Like, they are strong.
Yeah.
She is holding her own. I was nothing but impressed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think you're onto an amazing point that sometimes on this show, the pro partner is kind of just doing a lot of it and the celebrity is just kind of there. And with this, it felt like a partnership. And I think that's definitely what makes the difference between, certain contestants in this competition. So yeah, and I love that Jordin is at this place where you can tell she's still starting out. And I love that because you want to watch a progressive journey on the show. That's why I like it. So I love that she has, like, you can tell she has the like base level, what it takes to kind of win this comp, but it's still, you see the room for improvement. And so I think she's going to be still fun to watch. Obviously, she's a performer. She won American Idol. So she has that like just performer stage presence. So I think that's going to take her far as well. So I'm excited to see these two.
Yeah, and their score kind of reflects exactly what you just said. They had a score of 26, so not quite as high as, the Gabbys or the Selmas, but not that far behind. And I think oftentimes our winners or our runner-ups or, our front runners at the end are starting at that kind of high middle ground. They're not completely terrible because they really don't have that much time to drastically improve. But if they're willing to put in the work and really just show up, they can sometimes just end up completely on top. So similar to American Idol, we might be seeing her with the confetti falling down and them announcing her name at the end. So fingers crossed. And let's move on to Charli and Mark. I mean, obviously, what else did we expect? Charli is a trained dancer. She dances all the time. It is why she became famous on TikTok for her dance videos. I mean, she dances in this so maturely too. And I know part of it is the costume and the lighting, but she has this confidence and this maturity that I think is really rare to see in someone her age. Obviously, no surprise to anyone, they did end up with the highest score of the night. They had a score of 32. So a lot of people are, projecting Charli to win this entire thing simply based on her first night performance. Are we believing that? Or could we have someone, again, just like we discussed with Jordin, we put in the work and end up even better at the end?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a little too soon to say she's going to win it all, but I think, she's up there. Clearly, she got the highest score week 1. And yeah, I mean, again, Charli is, yes, she's like was trained in dance and she does TikTok dances and that's what made her famous. But this ballroom stuff is completely different than TikTok dance, But with that being said, she does have the same thing with Gabby. She has those sharp, kind of clean movements, super fluid. She can catch that technicality quick. And I think that's what's going to, separate her from the rest. And having Mark is absolutely, first of all, so glad to see Mark back, him and Val. So, and I think her and Gabby, I think are going to be interesting to watch because they've got these two partners that usually are competitive with each other and usually are like the ones to watch on this show. So having Mark is going to absolutely excel her. So I'm excited to see more of her, but I think there could be someone, coming up the rear that could take the season from her. So we'll have to see.
And that is why this show is interesting. It's why we keep tuning in every week. Moving on to someone who wasn't quite as successful, Teresa and Pasha. This one was a little hard to watch for me. Not only it was
Yeah.
less so, like you said earlier, I didn't necessarily have secondhand embarrassment, but it almost kind of felt like she knew her moves and it was very stagnant, and she would do one move and stand and wait for her next one. Like it just didn't feel like
Mhm.
one cohesive dance to me. It felt like, as she probably was going through her head of, and now I drop down, and now I turn, and now I spin.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like very
Yeah.
robotic in that way, which is kind of
Yeah.
what the judges talked about. They talked about her being stiff or maybe her being in her head. I believe Len said at one point, it kind of got off near the beginning and never really got back on again. So where was your head at
Mm.
watching Teresa?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything. I think it definitely got off at the start. And sometimes, as a performer, you and I both know, sometimes when you mess up at the start, it can kind of get in your head for the rest of it. And so I think that's a part of it. But I think the other big thing for me was the song choice for this kind of a dance. It just didn't work.
Hmm.
It felt like the dance was slow and the song was fast, and it just didn't help. I think if they had a different song that kind of matched the style of dance they were doing, it would have probably worked a little better. But I think that there's room for her to grow. I mean, she's definitely one of the older contestants, so sometimes it's harder. But I think we'll have to see. I think that there's still a shot for her. We'll have to just give her another shot and see what happens with her next week.
Yeah, and I think her score reflects everything we've been saying. They ended up with a score of 20. So having that low of a score, they did end up in the bottom two. But part of this show is that the fan votes can then come in and potentially save you. She was saved. And so we can't kind of dismiss the fact that she has a big following. There's a lot of loyal Housewives fans that also tune
Yeah.
into this show. And we've seen that before where people who aren't, inherently gifted or trained in dance have a big enough following to kind of get them at least somewhat into the season. So maybe her Housewives fans will continue tuning in week after week, helping her balance out those low scores. But I'm with you. I think the dance and the music were like a little bit off in my mind. So I'll be curious to know where they go next week and what they perform. Moving right along, we have Wayne and Witney. Okay, here's the thing. I said Val was one of my favorite pros. I'll give him that for the male pros. In terms of the female pros, Witney has always been one that I've just loved watching. Like she's so vibrant, she's
Yes.
so confident. She seemed to have such like a cheerful presence, and I applaud these two. It does really feel like they are working together. It feels like they're very well connected. And it was fun to watch. I felt like I was at, a performance as opposed to like kind of like looking for
Yeah.
things to critique. And so they did
Mhm.
actually end up with a score of 29. So clearly, I'm not alone in thinking that they have something going here. They are clearly doing well. And I think they have a lot of
Mhm.
potential for going far in this season.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I am absolutely a huge Whitney fan. I also watched So You Think You Can Dance growing up, and that's where I first saw Whitney. And so when I saw her come on to Dancing with the Stars, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like huge Whitney fan. So, for Wayne being paired with Whitney, that's a big plus. And I think her choreography is just always so good, and that makes a big difference. And so, yeah, Wayne's such a great performer. I think, technically, I can see there's definitely a lot more room to grow, but again, I think he's going to pick it up quick. I think he's going to be kind of the next Alfonso, I think. So I'm excited to see more of them.
Yeah. And next up, I mean, Alfonso was so great. He's nailing it as a host. I really feel like that's what
Oh my
Tyra
gosh.
needed to kind
Yes.
of balance her out. It's
Yeah.
easier to have him up in the balcony talking to dancers while she's down on the floor. So, I mean, him being the
Yeah.
next Alfonso, he might have a bright, bright career in front of him.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
our final clip right now is of Shangela and Gleb. I mean, nailing it. The costumes, the lighting, like it's just like it makes me want to get up and dance. They ended up with a score of 28. So again, when I was talking about those three couples with the scores of 28, they are that final three that we're showing you guys. And it makes sense. I mean, that's, I think, going to be the hardest part about this season, or maybe make it one of the most interesting seasons yet, is of course we have our, people who are falling behind score wise, but even here on week one, it's kind of neck and neck of, 28,
Mhm.
29, 32. Like there's a lot of people automatically showing promise, potential. And I think there's going to be a big fight for the Mirror Ball trophy at the end of this season.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say Shangela is a dark horse in this comp. Like she's gonna come up the rear, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, wait a minute, we thought it was the Gabbies and the Charlies, but wait, Shangela
Hmm.
is final three." And so, I mean, gosh, she's got like the faces, the presence, the kind of performance style. Like we've been talking about that this whole panel, but like she really has that. I think in drag, like you have to kind of be able to pull things off and do things on the spot. And so she is just she's incredible. She's got the flair, she's got the sharp moves like we've been talking about, and I like her and Gleb's partnership. I think that they're doing such a great job together right off the bat. So, yeah, she's one to
Yeah.
watch.
And the confidence, like you mentioned, being a performer, being in drag, having that kind of unshakable confidence and just rolling with it, it's going to help her so much because while there might be tiny, mess ups or technique things that the judges pick up on, from an audience perspective, from a voter perspective, if you carry
Mhm.
yourself with confidence, even if you mess up,
Yeah.
we're probably not going to notice. We're sitting there on our couch
Yeah.
with our wine. We don't know half of the stuff you're
Right.
doing. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited, not only by their dance, but every dance we saw on Monday night and this season as a whole. So those are kind of our top clips, top couples we wanted to show you guys today on this panel. So final question for you, Kayla, before we wrap things up here. Who is your prediction for a final two? Obviously, we know a lot of people can show potential and, stay stagnant or really, really improve. We've seen people seem like front runners at the beginning who end up going home a few weeks in. So if you had to pick, your top two couples, who would it be?
First person that comes to mind is definitely Charlie, and I think it's just because she's just so incredible right out the bat. But I think I'm in between maybe Gabby and Wayne. I think Wayne could like really, really improve and be like the male contestant that's like, oh my God, I want to keep
Hmm.
watching him every single week. But Gabby is just, she's so fun to watch. She's such a clear performer and she has like the clear, like, what it takes to win this competition. So I don't know. It's between those three, but yeah, there's so much more for us to see.
So much more. It's got me really excited. And I honestly think I'm with you. Charlie has the talent and the massive following. So that's going to help her. But I really
Mhm.
think Selma's story, and, as we get more
Yeah.
into, the interview portions and them talking about personal things going on in their life, I really think her story is going to impact a lot of people. And I think that might, pull some voters out to vote for her as well. So I really hope that she goes far as well. But of course, that is all we know from this week's premiere episode of Dancing with the Stars season 31. We will be back next week to cover everything that happens in week 2. We love Dancing with the Stars here at Shared News. So put your thoughts down in the comments below. Who were your front runners night 1? Who are you most likely to vote for this season? We want to know, so put them down below. And before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any pop culture updates. I'm your host, Allison Van Dam, joined today by Kayla Thompson. Our social handles are on the screen right now. If you want to come give us a follow, come say hello. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.